In a climate-controlled vault at Yale University, sealed behind glass and guarded by centuries of silence, lies a book that has defeated every mind that has ever tried to read it. Not a single word of it has ever been translated. Not one sentence confirmed. For over 100 years, some of the sharpest cryptographers, linguists, and codebreakers in human history have stared into its pages and walked away empty-handed. Even the machines built to crack the uncrackable have failed. This is the Voynich Manuscript, and what you are about to hear is not the story of a mystery solved. It is the story of a mystery that refuses to die. It begins, for the modern world at least, in 1912, in the shadow of an Italian villa. A Polish-born rare book dealer named Wilfred Voynich was combing through a collection of old manuscripts when he came across something unlike anything he had ever handled. Roughly 240 vellum pages, bound in soft leather, filled edge to edge with flowing, elegant handwriting in an alphabet no one recognized. Interwoven with the text were illustrations that seemed to belong to no known tradition of art, science, or medicine. Voynich, a man who had spent his life around rare books, immediately understood that he was holding something extraordinary. He brought it back to the United States, and the object that would come to bear his name began its second life, this time under the scrutiny of the modern world. But who wrote it, and when, remained a mystery Voynich himself could never answer. It would take nearly a century, and a technology he could never have imagined, to begin closing in on the truth. In 2009, scientists at the University of Arizona used radiocarbon dating on the manuscript's vellum, and the results were startling in their precision. The calfskin pages were produced sometime between 1404 and 1438, placing the physical creation of the book firmly in the early 15th century, during the twilight of the medieval world and the dawn of the Renaissance. The ink and pigments, when analyzed, were consistent with materials available in Europe during that same era. This was not a Victorian forgery, nor a Renaissance fantasy dressed up to look older than it was. Whatever the manuscript is, it is genuinely, verifiably old. And that single fact transforms the mystery from a curiosity into something far more haunting. Someone, 600 years ago, sat down and created this. The only question is why. To understand the grip this book holds on the imagination, you have to see it, page by page, the way its earliest readers must have. The handwriting itself is the first shock. It flows in tidy, confident lines, written left to right, using an alphabet of 20 to 25 characters that resemble nothing in Latin, Greek, Hebrew, or any other script known to scholars. The letters loop and curl with a strange, almost musical rhythm, as if the scribe wrote quickly and fluently, never hesitating, never correcting a mistake. That fluency is itself part of the puzzle. Whoever wrote this was not struggling to invent gibberish on the spot. They were writing the way a person writes in a language they already know. Then come the images. The first and largest section of the manuscript is filled with drawings of plants, hundreds of them, rendered with the careful detail of a medieval herbal. But botanists who have studied these pages for decades have never been able to match the vast majority of them to any known species on Earth. Roots twist in impossible directions. Leaves sprout in configurations that defy botanical logic. Some appear to be composites, as though 2 or 3 different plants were fused into one. It is as if the manuscript's plants exist only within the boundaries of its own pages. Turn further, and the tone shifts entirely. An astronomical section unfolds, filled with circular diagrams, radiating suns, and star-like patterns. Zodiac symbols appear here too, wheels marked with figures representing the signs, each one encircled by tiny naked human forms holding stars, as if charting some private, personal cosmology layered on top of the familiar heavens. Nothing about the arrangement matches any known astronomical or astrological system precisely, and yet nothing about it feels random either. It has structure. It has intention. The most unsettling section comes next, one that scholars often call the biological or balneological pages. Here, dozens of nude female figures stand or recline in green, cloudy pools, connected to one another by an intricate network of tubes, pipes, and vessels that twist through the margins like veins beneath skin. Some of the women appear to be bathing. Others seem caught mid-motion, gesturing toward the strange plumbing that binds them together. No one has ever definitively explained what these images represent. Some see the human body itself, laid open in symbolic form. Others see something closer to alchemy, the transformation of substances through liquid and vessel. Whatever the intention, the effect on a modern viewer is visceral. These pages feel less like illustration and more like ritual, caught permanently on vellum. Further still, the manuscript shifts again into what appears to be a pharmaceutical section, rows of labeled jars and vessels beside more unidentifiable plant specimens, suggesting recipes, or perhaps preparations, an index of remedies for uses now lost. And finally, near the end, pages of dense, uninterrupted text, arranged in what look like recipes or short paragraphs, marked only with small star symbols in the margins, as if organizing a list whose meaning we can only guess at. Taken together, these sections suggest a coherent, purposeful work, not the disordered scribbling of a madman. And that coherence is precisely what has drawn some of history's finest minds into its orbit, and precisely what has broken so many of them. The list of those who have tried and failed to crack the Voynich Manuscript reads like a roll call of 20th century intelligence and academia. During both world wars, when demand for skilled cryptographers was at its highest, the manuscript found its way into the hands of codebreakers trained to defeat the ciphers of nations. William Friedman, one of the most celebrated cryptanalysts in American history, a man who helped break Japanese diplomatic codes during the Second World War, spent years of his career obsessed with the Voynich Manuscript, and died without ever solving it. Decades later, the National Security Agency itself took an interest, running the text through statistical analysis in search of any pattern that might crack it open. It, too, came away without an answer. In more recent years, university researchers, amateur codebreakers, and eventually artificial intelligence systems trained to detect linguistic patterns have all taken their turn. Machine learning models have scanned the text searching for the fingerprints of known language families. Each attempt has produced intriguing possibilities, and each has ultimately fallen short of proof. What makes this failure so remarkable is not simply that no one has solved it. It is that the text behaves, statistically, exactly like a real language should. When linguists apply the mathematical tools used to distinguish genuine writing from meaningless noise, the Voynich Manuscript passes nearly every test. Its words follow a distribution known as Zipf's law, the same statistical pattern found in English, Latin, Chinese, and virtually every natural language ever studied, where a small number of words appear extremely frequently and the rest trail off in a predictable curve. Certain characters cluster together in patterns that mimic prefixes and suffixes. Word lengths and letter frequencies fall within ranges consistent with real speech transcribed onto a page. This is not the fingerprint of random gibberish. Random text, generated without structure, simply does not behave this way. And yet, despite behaving like language, it refuses to yield meaning in any language we know. This contradiction is the beating heart of the mystery, and it has given rise to a handful of serious, competing theories, none of them proven, all of them argued by credible researchers. The first holds that the manuscript is written in a genuine, natural language, perhaps a regional European dialect never committed to writing anywhere else, transcribed using an invented alphabet, its content simply lost to history because it was never widely shared. A second theory proposes that it is an elaborate cipher, a deliberately encoded text meant to conceal information from all but a select few, its true content hidden beneath a system of substitution or transposition so sophisticated that 6 centuries of cryptographers have failed to reverse it. A third theory suggests the manuscript is an encyclopedia of practical or medical knowledge, its botanical and pharmaceutical pages hinting at herbal remedies and treatments, written in a private shorthand meant only for its author's own use. Others have proposed an alchemical origin, arguing that the strange bathing figures and interconnected vessels reflect the symbolic language of transformation and distillation practiced by alchemists of the era. Still others point toward the possibility of a secretive intellectual or spiritual tradition, a closed community that developed its own system of writing precisely to keep outsiders out. And finally, a theory that refuses to disappear entirely, that the manuscript is an elaborate, painstaking hoax, created not to communicate meaning at all, but to imitate the appearance of meaning, perhaps to deceive a buyer, or simply to indulge a mind fascinated by pattern and mystery for its own sake. Serious scholars remain divided, and honest ones admit that at present, none of these theories can be confirmed. The manuscript keeps its secret. What is certain is this: for 600 years, the Voynich Manuscript has survived wars, changing owners, decades of obscurity, and the relentless scrutiny of the modern age, and it has given up nothing. Every tool humanity has developed to break codes and preserve knowledge, from wartime cryptography to radiocarbon dating to high-resolution digital imaging to artificial intelligence trained on millions of documents, has been turned upon its pages. And every single one has met the same quiet, patient resistance. Perhaps that is the truest reason it continues to fascinate us. In an age when nearly every corner of human knowledge feels searchable, translatable, and explainable within seconds, this small, strange book remains stubbornly, magnificently unknowable. And so the question that lingers, long after the pages are closed, may not be whether we will ever find the key that unlocks the Voynich Manuscript. It may be whether the manuscript was ever meant to be unlocked by us at all. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, subscribe to History Harbor, and share this video with others who love history. Your support helps us bring more untold stories and mysteries to life.